Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our preview series, a show in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal fixture and try to break down what we think might end up happening, get some insight, of course, into the latest team news and look to see what teams me and the guys on the show today have predicted. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world joining us today. Good to see so many of you already tuning into the chat box. A very interesting day of football has taken place. Some Kylian Mbappe news dropping this evening, which will keep people entertained, I'm sure. But our focus is very much firmly on Arsenal's Europa League game against Bodo Glimt on Thursday evening. Mikel Arteta will take his press conference tomorrow evening around 5:30, 6:30 in Norway. I'll be attending the open training session tomorrow at London Colney as well to get more of an insight into who and who isn't going to be there. So you can be sure we'll have more information on the squad tomorrow. But to talk about the game and more, I'm joined by three fantastic guests. First of all, it's King. How you doing, King, mate? You good, you well?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm still in Gambia, so can't complain.
Are you enjoying it? Back with the fam?
Yeah, it's wonderful. I miss them so much, and it's nice to have some fun as well. So I can't complain.
Absolutely. No, I'm buzzing for you, mate. I'm buzzing for you. We're also joined by Sasha once again, making his 11th appearance off the top of my
10th or
head.
11, I'll check afterwards. It's in the Discord.
What do you mean you don't know? You keep a
I
tracker.
can't
You should
remember,
know.
man. Yeah, it's in the Discord. The tracker's in the Discord, but I'll check. But yeah, it's something like that. But yeah, I'm doing great. If you're stupid enough, like me, to let Arsenal dictate your mood, then you're very, very happy right now.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I've lived my entire life with Arsenal and the wife dictating my mood. So, 50% of it at least is Arsenal. But it's very good on both sides at the moment, to be fair. So can't complain. And making his debut, it's always fantastic when we get a debut. So chat box, if you could give him a absolutely brilliant warm welcome. It's Aditya. How you doing, mate? You good, you well?
I'm good, Tom. I'm good. And thanks for the opportunity, man. It's my very first time.
No, pleasure. I mean, you've been a long-time listener because I don't recognise the name of the Discord for a long time and in the chat box as well.
Yeah, I was.
How's it feel jumping on for the first time?
See, I just want to do one thing in front of the live for the very first time. It's like that, 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 that. Oh,
Love it.
oh, oh.
Saliba. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. He's setting the precedent now for the rest of our guests coming on our preview shows to do the Saliba song. This is brilliant. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, try and beat that guy.
Yeah, that's the benchmark now. That is the benchmark. Yes, yeah. Fantastic stuff. King, is there an element of kind of being brought back down to earth after a brilliant victory against Liverpool to know you've now got to go all the way to very cold Norway, playing on an artificial pitch in the Europa League against Bodo Glimt and keeping your fingers crossed we don't have any injury problems? Is it a bit of a reality check for us on Thursday?
It kind of is. It definitely is. But I think the positive side is that we get to see more of players like Eddie Nketiah, like Fabio Vieira. And it's good to see, because they're really pushing it to get into the starting 11. So obviously we are worried about injuries. It's artificial pitch. It's very cold in Scandinavia right now. I've spoken to people who live there. So fingers crossed no one gets injured.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a real frustration. And I mean, does that kind of play, Sasha, into your thoughts around your team selection, knowing that we're going up against a side that play on an artificial pitch, which are notorious for injuries? What I will say is that Bodo Glimt and other teams do play on these pitches all year round. And if they were causing injuries every game, I don't think they'd be allowed. So, whilst it's only a chance, it is only a slight influence on things. But has it affected your thinking for your team at all?
In a way, yes. But also no. Obviously, injuries are basically luck-based most of the time, unless the player isn't giving his part, as in eating right, training right, warming up right, those type of stuff. Otherwise, it's based on luck. I mean, if you get into a bad tackle, you can't do anything about it. It's not your fault. If you run and you pull a hamstring, it's not your fault. So it's based on luck. So the less you play, the less the chance of you getting injured is obviously there. But It's going to definitely be a tough game, and I don't think anyone, should expect the same sort of game that was at the Emirates this week. It will be a lot more difficult going there to Norway than them coming to our home ground.
Yeah, well, I mean, being in the Emirates last Thursday, the one thing that stood out from a Bodo Glimt side of things was the fans. Like, they were mad for 90 minutes. So I can't imagine what their stadium is going to be like on Thursday. It's going to be a cauldron of noise, that is for sure. Aditya, I mean, it's really interesting because we've got an away trip, of course, against Leeds at the weekend. We're in the middle of this month where we were told 9 games in the space of 4 weeks. We're going to be tired. We're going to need to rotate. But we've managed to win the first 3 games, 2 of them against 2 massive oppositions in Spurs and Liverpool. So do you feel as though there's almost an element of this momentum's going to carry us through this month, and these Europa League games are just going to be an opportunity to kind of rotate and give more fringe players opportunities to get more minutes?
Probably you're right, Tom, because see, we already knew that in October there would be a hectic month, and we'll be playing midweek all the way till the World Cup starts, and this was going to be a challenge, and I was quite frankly very surprised to even see 7 or 8 changes in the starting lineup, and still we are able to produce that kind of performances, albeit maybe something here and there. But the style and the patterns of play were there, which were clearly visible. Players were trying to do that, and I think it's a welcome opportunity to have the lads run down on the pitch, and basically the chemistry as and when team builds up. Maybe we can see a very good team, very good second team being curated by Arteta. Who knows?
Who knows, indeed. I mean, there's a lot of players, of course, we've got that aren't playing regularly in the first team. I know Tomiyasu started against Liverpool, but, you'd expect him to probably play some part in this game, most likely. Kieran Tierney, of course, was on the bench for the game against Liverpool. Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos, we're going to see a lot of these players featured in our desired lineups that we're going to show you in just a second. I was a little bit curious, and Harvey in our chat box is someone who lives just about 5 miles away, or rather a 6-hour drive, he says. That's very different to 5 miles away. But it's a 6-hour drive from where I live in Sweden to Bodo, and I'm curious as to why Bodo Glimt are called Bodo Glimt. Harvey explains that Bodo is the name of the town, and actually having a quick check on things, the reason as to why you have the Glimt part, apparently it means flash, and that was a nickname of the club when they were founded. So they're actually called Bodo Flash is their name, which might be one of the coolest names for a football team I've heard thus far, which is quite an interesting bit of trivia for the Norwegian sides. Let's move to the lineups. King, we start with yours, mate. Talk us through your team.
Yes, so I've actually chosen to start with Tomiyasu as left centre back. He plays there for Japan, and I think he showed against Liverpool how good he is in defense and in both feet. And I'm always wanted to see him play as a centre back for Arsenal because I just think he's a fantastic defender and he's very comfortable on the ball as well. I also think it's time to see Cedric, give him a few minutes, and I want to see more of Nelson. I felt like last game in the Europa League when he came in, he looked really sharp, and I want to see more of him as well and try and rest as much of our front trio as possible.
And King, you've picked Fabio Vieira as your star player. I mean, he's obviously going to be desperate to continue kind of this record of scoring in his last 2 starts for Arsenal, but to try and fight for that place in the first team.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen that he's a special player. I know a lot of people were questioning the fee we paid for him, but if you had spoken to people who watch the Portuguese league or Porto fans, they were saying that they got underpaid, and I think he's starting to show that we did get him for a very good fee, and he's a special player, and he's very effective in the final third. And I want to see him and Ødegaard because I do think that Ødegaard going back to his home country, he's gonna want to play and show the Norwegian fans, how good he is as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to, I believe, Sasha's team is next. Oh, sorry, no, it's Aditya's team next. I put it in the wrong order. That's fine. Aditya, you can go first. Talk us through your selection, my friend.
So, Tom, what I did was I had 3 biggest dilemmas while sorting out the starting 11. So, in the attack, I was skeptical about including Reece Nelson actually, but I was not very sure about how his fitness levels are, considering he has just returned from a long injury. So I put Martinelli as there, but I expect Arteta to make swift changes and replace him by the 60th or 70th minute. Apart from that, I was looking forward to what King did in the midfield over there in Vieira and Odegaard. But apparently, I thought of the fan support that they'll be having because they were mental when they came over to our place, and I can only imagine how
Hmm.
they will be at their home. So, a character like Xhaka has to be there because he is the pulling strings. He is that kind of person who will grab team by his own hands if that needs be. And for Tomiyasu, actually, I was thinking about including Cedric in some way, but probably Cedric is not in our plans going ahead. So I just had a thought maybe we can do it without him, and let's see if it works out. The season is long, so many things can happen. We would have to change things here and there. So keeping that core players group intact and maybe having a go with little bit of formation alteration, but it's a game that Arteta plays in day out, and I really like the idea of having core group of players and playing the teams around it.
And we've gone with Lokonga as your 5-star man. Are you kind of hoping that he starts to convince fans that he can be kind of a
Yeah.
midfielder for the future?
See, I do not remember exactly who said it, but someone of a prolific pundit did said it that Lakonga is very rare profile of breeds in defensive midfielders you find in this modern day era who wants the ball at their feet. Now, if there is a player who's confident enough to play in that particular position, deep line midfielder, and he wants ball every single time, and he's not shying away from it, give him the ball, let him do his thing. It's only a matter of time when he will get into his own swing and he'll perform. So, like we have to get back to this particular fella because I remember, I clearly remember that Chelsea game in his last preseason game. He scored the
Mm.
last goal and he was kissing the Arsenal back like anything. So it shows that he has feelings for it, and probably we should, as fans, get behind him and support him in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, I mean, speaking to people that know those close to Lokonga, his focus is very much on Arsenal. He wants to be at Arsenal. He wants to try and succeed at Arsenal. I know we've seen some kind of crazy links recently with Juventus and Locatelli, but the latest on Lokonga's position is he wants to stay and fight for his place. Whether that still remains the case in 2023 summer transfer window remains to be seen, but that's certainly where his head's at right now. Sasha, only a couple of changes in your side of things. Talk us through the team.
Yeah, so I'm quickly going to run through it. I mean, Turner, obvious choice for Ramsdale to rest, especially since he had this little weird injury in his leg in the game against Liverpool. That was quite concerning. I'd much rather rest him. And then the other one in the back line that's probably is Tomiyasu at left centre back instead of Gabriel with Tomiyasu at right back. But I prefer this one. Give Tomiyasu some more game time. Give Cedric some game time as well. Rest Gabriel. The debate is arguably, do we give Gabriel more chance to gain more confidence, or does he need a rest because he's been making a few mistakes recently? And some people are starting to be part of the "I told you about this guy" crew that I can't stand, to be honest, because if you cannot recognize that Gabriel is at least minimum top three centre back in the last 13 years at Arsenal, then I can't help you. You don't know ball. Facts.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
moving on. In midfield, so Xhaka again plays because the guy just he doesn't get tired. It of like he can play multiple times a week without it being an issue. He doesn't get injured. And then in the front line, I'm going with Martinelli again because I think we don't have anyone else, to be honest. I
Mhm.
think Nelson will probably come off the bench again towards the end. And then my star player again is Nketiah because Nketiah, every time he plays in these games, Europa League games, League Cup games, yes, they're easy games, easy, quote unquote, but he scores the goals. And then we win 2-0 or we win 3-0 and Eddie scores, and then people still saying, oh, no, this guy isn't good enough. But he does the job in the game he plays. So I don't know what more do you want. I mean, do you want him to score 5? I mean, no, it's not going to happen. I mean, no one's going to do it. I mean, Jesus is playing in this game. He can come in and play this game. He's probably also going to score 1 or 2. But Jesus is phenomenal as well. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, fair enough. For me, a couple of surprises potentially in there. One being Cedric being the star man. I just think he's determined to show what he's capable of. My colleague Kai Karnak came into the info that he is very determined to kind of make Arteta's selection difficult. I can't see how he's going to get into the Premier League side at all unless there's serious injury issues now. But why not see Cedric burst up the right-hand side and have a great game supporting Marquinhos, getting the balls into the box. He is our most offensive-minded right-back in the team. So let's see him have a star game of getting up and down that right flank. I've put Matt Smith in here because there's just no one else that I can rotate out with Xhaka. Like we're that kind of light right now in terms of rotation. And I do think that Xhaka is in need of a bit of a rest. I know he's a bit of a machine and can play every game without too much questioning, but there's just part of me that thinks let's just give him one game to rest, one game off. And our good friend of the show, Bailey Keogh, who works with me at FL, was at the Arsenal under-21 game against Spurs and said that Smith was phenomenal in the midfield and said he was absolutely brilliant. And there's a clear reason as to why he's training with the first team and he keeps popping up onto the first team bench. It seems only a matter of time maybe that he does get a few minutes and a run out into the team. I'd be shocked if Smith doesn't get any minutes at all in this Europa League campaign because he's always featuring on the bench and we are short in midfield. So if we do qualify and get that kind of top spot secured with the last game still remaining against Zurich, I think that it is, I'd be surprised if Matt Smith doesn't play in that game because it would be a great opportunity, certainly, to give him the chance to play. The rest of the team, I think, picks itself. The only other area, I think, is who you play at centre-back. I've gone with White and Holding. I think that White playing inside doesn't mean he's going to be necessarily tested too greatly. It gives Gabriel a bit of a time off. I think Tomiyasu could come in very easily, very happily. Did play at the weekend, of course. I don't know whether he's going to be involved at the weekend against Leeds, but maybe I want to see White play in the middle for this one. But Tomiyasu would be just as good in that position. And I can't want to see Nelson play this game because he was looking really sprightly when he came off the bench against Bodo Glimt last Thursday. So I'd quite like to see him given an opportunity, which is completely a 180 of what I was talking about last week when I said I don't really see a point in playing him. He proved me wrong, and I like being proved wrong when it's for the benefit of Arsenal. So, yeah, indeed, I think that Nelson comes in for me. Anyway, let's jump into the chat box and get some predictions as well. It's your time to throw those in. We'll start with King. Give me a scoreline and scorers, please, fella.
I think 3-0 again. I do think that we are a much better team than Bodo. I think that the way we've been playing this season, it's been amazing. It's like a brand new team, and the aura around Arsenal right now is at the top. And I think we're gonna bring that. And we've got hungry players like Eddie, like Vieira, like Cedric. They're gonna want to prove a point, and I think they're gonna step up. I think the goal scorers will be Eddie again. I think he'll score. I think Fabio Vieira will score. And I actually hope that Nelson could score a goal. I think it would be good for his confidence. And even if his future is not at Arsenal, him scoring just make it easier for him to find another team.
No, absolutely. Fair play. In the chat box, we've got Hughes saying 3-0 Arsenal win. Dan Roberts going for a 2-0 to 2 Cedric Screamers. Would love to see that. Brandon's going for a 2-2. Wilson says 4-1 to the Arsenal. Temmy's going for a 1-0 of a last-second Matt Turner header from a corner. That'd be quite cool. Ian's going for a 3-1 Arsenal win. It's going to be a tricky game. And Javier's going for, if we have a great first half, 3-0. If we have a poor first half, just a 1-0 win. Sasha, what are you going for?
Well, firstly, the 1-0 win with Turner header. If it's 0-0 at the end of the game, there's zero chance of Matt Turner going up for a header. I'm sure of that. But I'm gonna go. I'm stuck between 2-1 and 3-1. I'm just gonna go for 3-1, being optimistic. I'm gonna say Eddie Nketiah is gonna score again, and my other two scorers, I'm hoping for Marquinhos, and then maybe one of the back line can get a goal as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good indeed. Sam says 3-1 Arsenal and Vieira Xhaka. Amir is going for a 2-0 Arsenal with Eddie and Tierney's rocket finally hitting the back of the net. He's not got a colder game than this to do it in. Byron says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Vieira and Eddie to score. We'll concede a silly goal on the break with our high line. And Leonid says he's got a bad feeling about this game, though. Marley going for a 2-1 and Nketiah and Ødegaard with the goals. Elliot's going for a 3-0 Arsenal victory. We're on a roll. Long may it continue. Aditya, scoreline and scorers, please, fella.
Just to put a caveat over there, I'm going for a very nervy 3-2, just because of the fact that.
Wow.
Because Tom, I'll tell you, the only one thing which I know for sure, that those guys were not feared of us when they came to Emirates. They played the way they wanted to play. They were not at all feared of whatever the opponent is, and I'm pretty much expecting the same thing. They are going to their place, and the only way I can see this game being a very low goal scoring game is that someone has an off game, but I don't think so. In our team, our attacking prowess is as such that we will score goals and they will retaliate. I'm telling you, Tom, the crowd is going to be behind them, and we need some kind of person to hold our team together, because it's going to be a very nervy game. I can tell you that.
No, I think that's fair. It's going to be a nervy game. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely on it. And Bodo are going to be very, very up for this game. They know they've probably got to try and get 3 points at least in the next 2 of the 3 games if they want to have a hope of progressing through to the next round. And so obviously playing against Arsenal at home, they'd look to try and get something from it. So they're going to be very up for it. They're going to try and attack. Their manager's already come out and said the only way you get a chance against Arsenal at the moment is by attacking. And Liverpool certainly showed that you nearly can get a result. Not quite, but who knows what will happen after a changed side. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Arsenal win, after going 1-0 down and scoring 3 after we've made quite a few changes in the second half, probably. But yeah, 3-1 Arsenal win from my end of things. Edward's going for a 2-1. Schrodinger's Catflap's going for a 7-2 to the Arsenal. Karmic thinks that the artificial pitch is going to be a leveller and it'll be a tough game. And Twin says 4-0 Arsenal, and Nketiah with 2, Vieira and Nelson. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. King, thank you so much for your time. So happy to catch up once again, and glad you're enjoying yourself in Gambia, mate. Tell people where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Man, thank you for having me on. Thanks for all the support you and the chat has provided me for these past few months. It's been amazing, and I'm just happy that I'm finally here. And yeah, guys, you can find me on King's Football Show. I do a lot of content in regards to FPL, and I do football content as well.
Fantastic stuff. Make sure you go and check it out. King's Football Show on YouTube. You can find it. It also features some of our other Discord server members as well, so worth checking out. Sasha, thanks for your time, mate. Tell people can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Okay, you can find me at SVW Sports on Twitter, or you can find me on the Discord, the TGT Discord. Sometimes I'm also on King's show, or here on the members podcast if you want to see me. And then yeah, that's all. Up the Gunners. Let's hope Arsenal can continue this form. Keep the debate smart. Don't get deluded, but don't let people disrespect you, because you are a league leader. That's all. Thank you.
Love it. Love it. I was going to say something witty about being only 1 point behind you in fantasy, but actually, no, I liked your outro so much. I'm going to let it go. And finally, Aditya, fantastic debut, mate. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and you smashed it. Tell people where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
For everyone who's trying to get across the messages, I could easily be found on the Discord channel, and yeah, you can find me there. And just a heads up, if you happen to be in India, you can always find us in Arsenal Delhi screening. We are a regular there, and if you happen to be there, just come say hello. I'll be more than happy for a chat. I'm that kind of a person. Thanks, Tom. Thanks. It's
pleasure. No, good to have you on. Arguably the best intro of one of our panelists we've had on a preview show, to be fair. Smash that one. And I look forward to getting some of you guys back on again. And of course, potentially maybe some more debutants, or as we're going to call them from now on, the Vinny specials, as people coming on for the very first time. Vinny doing a great job always convincing people to come onto the channel. And it's great to see so many more new faces popping on as well. We will see you tomorrow morning for the usual 8 a.m. show. There won't be a show straight after the game on Thursday, but there will be a show the next morning at 8 a.m. doing the reaction of it. As I said, I'm going to be at the training ground tomorrow for the open training session, so I should be able to get some insight into who and who isn't going to be there, potential youngsters that could be involved too. So keep your eyes peeled to Football London for all the updates on that, or my personal Twitter page at Tom Canton Media. I've also uploaded an article over the FL website talking all about Gabriel Magalhaes and why there's a little bit of a myth going around at the moment and a few misconceptions about the player. He's far, far better than people are giving him credit for. So certainly worth checking out. We'll see you again very, very soon, people. Have a fantastic day. And as always, up the Arsenal.